So we're discussing about the role of intelligence in devotion and faith. So one of you said, so you said that it is at one level no blind faith. That itself indicates that we have to use our intelligence, that we ask questions. Any other points?
Through intelligence, we follow a process and we see some results, and so we can infer that something else may happen, although we don't see it. So we have faith.
Okay, so we see the results, and we use our intelligence to see the results. Do we have something else? Or is maybe do one thing, remove the blanket from here, from below. Let's see if it is. Okay, let's try it out. Any other thoughts? Okay. So I'll talk based on the Bhagavad Gita 10.10. Tesham satata yuktanam pajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yenamam upayanti te. So Krishna uses the word Buddhi Yoga. Now the word Buddhi Yoga is a compound word. So it can mean two different things. That Buddhi to do yoga. Buddhi means intelligence, yoga is a spiritual connection. And conversely, it can also mean yoga that gives Buddhi. That when we practice, we didn't have any. Can we try that table? It's really shaky. I can't try it over here. But don't. Okay. Yes.
So it's stable. So it seems a bit better.
Okay, anything else?
Don't touch this. Is okay?
So basically, okay. Yes. In the process of bhakti, which involves faith, So Bhakti is a combination of logic and magic. So this is everything that we're going to speak today is going to be summarized in this one sentence, that when we are practicing spirituality, when we are trying to grow toward Krishna, try to approach our life with a devotional disposition. So then there is logic that we use, and then there is also the buddhi. To do yoga is the domain of logic, and the yoga that gives us buddhi, that is magic. So both of these play their role. So now what does this mean, logic and magic? What does the word logic mean to you?
Reasoning.
Reasoning, yes, thank you. Reasoning means something which we try to. Logic essentially means, okay, this effect is there, therefore this cause must be there. Or if this cause is there, then this result effect must follow. So logic can mean many things, but one aspect is the cause effect connection. And what is magic?
Opposite of that, where this cause effect cannot be found out.
Okay, so we can't discern the cause of a connection. So in one sense, there's a scientist who says most advanced technology is non-distinguishable from what common people call as magic. Isn't it? So for somebody who doesn't know the cause effect, if we just press some button and we call somebody in a different part of the world, you say, how are you doing that? That might seem magic. So the same connection, if it is, connection is either invisible or it's non-existent. When magic means we are not able to see the connection, or maybe there is no connection at all. So that is magic. Now when we are functioning in our lives, when we are trying to grow spiritually, facing various life challenges externally and internally, now, when we are going to function, we need to have this combination in our lives of logic and magic. That means that when we function, we use our God-given intelligence. So I will talk about the role of logic and magic using the journey of Hanuman, when he not just goes to Lanka, but in Lanka he tries to find Sita. And we will look at an acronym called ABLE. So Bhakti actually makes us more able to face life's challenges. So when we have faith in Krishna, that actually enhances our capacity to use our intelligence and to face life's challenges more maturely, more wisely, more resourcefully. So first A, so now one of the names glorifying Hanumanji is that Jitendriyam Buddhimatam Varishtam. That he is Buddhimatam, among those who have intelligence, he is Varishtam. He is among the best. So it is now Hanuman is also considered the greatest devotee of the Lord Ram. And yet his devotion and his intelligence, they are not seen in conflict. He is the greatest devotee and he is also the best among those with intelligence. So first is appreciate. What do we appreciate? That our intelligence is also a gift from God. That everything that we have, that our intelligence, it is a gift. It is a gift, and not just a gift, it is a gift from God. So it is not that God has given us a gift so that we devalue it, so that we neglect it. God, if we have been given a gift, we are meant to use it. Now, is it that, say, if we give our child, maybe our child has gone to college or going somewhere, and we give a child a car, and then is it that The love of the child is seen by how they reject the car. You brought that tea by any chance? That other bag, you took it back or it is good? Can we have some warm water? Oh no, just want some warm water. Maybe another glass. Sorry about that, I have been having a little cough recently. So we appreciate that our intelligence also comes from God. I was saying we have given our children some gift, say we give a child a car and they come to age of driving. Now is it that we expect them to show their love for us by rejecting the car? No, if you're given them the car or they keep the car and they never use the car, it's always in the godown. And then you say, okay, I gave you a car so that you use it. Now of course, if they use the car to drive everywhere, they never come to meet us. They never have time to meet us. And that would not be very good. But, can you open this? So, it's not that the gift is something which is to be rejected. So, all that we have is a gift, including our intelligence. So, when Hanuman went to Lanka, he made a plan. It was an extremely difficult mission. Now when we hear it, it's just a story and it seems very adventurous and exciting when we read it. But if we consider from his perspective, he was a single person. He had not done, as far as we have the story of the Ramayana, given the Valmiki Ramayana, that he had never done this big of a solitary operation before. If you're in the army, you have operations. And generally we go as a team so that people can watch each other's back. But somebody has to go alone. And the success of the entire mission depends on that one person alone. It's extremely difficult. It's a huge responsibility. So when Hanuman went all alone, he met various obstacles and he overcame all of them along the ocean. Now his plan was to go in discreetly because his mission was to find Sita, and he was going right into the headquarters of the demoniac forces. Lanka was itself like a stronghold, very well protected. So one of my friends is in the Indian army. So he said that when India did the surgical strikes in Pakistani territory, they said our inspiration was Hanuman going into Lanka. Now of course those wars and these wars may not necessarily be comparable, but the principle is that we draw from our tradition, we draw from our wisdom. So we are going into enemy territory. But there at least, it was a courageous operation. Multiple people had gone inside. And in today's technology, you have so many people, you have wireless communication, you have this and that, you have backup teams. Hanuman had nothing. He went all alone there. Now when he went there, his plan was to enter discreetly so that he could find Sita. He didn't want to cause any unnecessary complication in the situation. But right from the beginning, the plan was foiled. As soon as he tried, he landed. Our Lanka was an island, and then within that island, at the center of it, there was a city, and that city was surrounded by a fort. So when he leapt across and landed on Lanka, and he was planning to go into the city, and he thought, okay, the island itself was not very occupied. Everybody lived inside the fort in the city. So he thought, now I'll sneak in. He decreased his size. But suddenly a being appeared over there. Who was that? Lankini. She blocked his way. Now Hanuman, when he went over there, initially he was adopting the policy of like minimum violence. When it's required, that's why with Surasa he did not fight. When Simhika did not allow him to go ahead at all, that's when he had to fight her and he had to kill her. But with Lankini, he had a choice. She told, I am the guardian deity of Lanka and no one can go in without my sanction. And what did Hanuman do at that time? He just slapped her and she was stunned. You see the power of that slap. It was not a very aggressive slap in the sense that he did not really want to hurt her. He just wanted her to get her out of his way. But when he did this, every choice has consequences. That meant she was going to be alive. And she was going to live and tell the story. So this itself was a complication in his plan. So he had started off in the daytime. He leapt across throughout the day. And then when he had landed, he decided to wait till it became night, so that he could sneak in. So he was using his intelligence. So first point is that whenever we are trying to do any service, whether we are trying to take care of our family, our jobs, when our life is centered on Krishna, or we are trying to do some service to Krishna, the intelligence we have is to be appreciated that it is a gift from God. And then B means we build our intelligence. Whatever skill we have, with observation, with experience, we learn. We try to enhance our skill. So Arjuna was a great archer. Intelligence can be of different kind. Intelligence is not just mathematical or mathematical information processing capacity. Intelligence could be of very different kind. Nowadays we talk about musical intelligence and linguistic intelligence and so many different kinds of intelligences. So whatever with the particular intelligence we talk about, the point is that, do all of you want to come a little closer? Okay, are all of you able to see this? Of course, if you don't want to see, I don't want to force you to see. That's perfectly fine also. So Arjuna, he developed his intelligence, isn't it? He practiced archery, and that's why one of his names is Gudakesha. He would practice day and night. And so whatever ability we have, that we appreciate that it is a gift from God. So we could say that is a talent. But when we build it, that is where our commitment comes in. So for us to do anything substantial, talent alone is not enough. It is talent plus commitment. And this is what leads to achievement. But talent and commitment alone may also not be enough, and we'll discuss that shortly. But the point is, in Bhakti also, whatever skills we have, whatever abilities we have, whatever intelligence we have, we see it as a gift of God. And then we learn to use it better. Somebody may have linguistic ability, and they learn to use it so that they can compose good sentences, they can write well, they can speak well, and they can convey wisdom, including devotional wisdom. We have in our tradition, Jiva Goswami was a great scholar. He wanted to establish the philosophical basis of Gaudiya Vaishnavism, so he went all the way to Varanasi, which was Prabhupada called as the Vrindavan of the Mayavadis. It was the place where the whole ethos was quite impersonalistic. So philosophically it was opposite. But from the perspective of the resource that he wanted to develop, there were very great grammar teachers over there. So he went there to learn grammar. And then afterwards he used it to establish the practice of Bhakti. So for all of us, what talents we have, what abilities we have, what intelligence we have, we are meant to use it in Krishna's service. Prabhupada, in one conversation with one disciple, Rochin Prabhu, he says, our philosophy means find out what you are good at doing and do it for Krishna. So what we are good at doing means that is a gift we have been given. So we use it for Krishna. So we appreciate that we have certain gifts. But after we have gifts, we also build on them. So Hanuman had some intelligence. He made some plans. So then he said, okay, Lankini is informed, but let me shrink myself into a very tiny form. And with that tiny form, then I'll try to find Sita. I'll go and locate her. So he went inside Lanka. And he started searching. And he was searching. And he said, with his logic, he said, she's a princess, she's a queen. So technically she was a princess. Ram had not yet become the king. So as a princess, he said, where will she be? In the palace. So he went to the palace. He started looking. So generally, you can just imagine how difficult that is. So nowadays we have, when you go to meet people, we have the address which is given. We also have GPS. And still sometimes we get lost. But he had to find a person, and that person he had seen only once, and that too for a few moments. When had Hanuman seen Sita? Sorry?
When Ravana was taken.
Yes, when Ravana was taking, so they were on the ground, and she had called out for help, and then she had dropped some of her ornaments. That was the only time she had one glimpse of Sita. Now Sita was, of course, extraordinarily attractive, divinely attractive, and that's why if he saw her, he wouldn't forget her. But still, it was not that he had in the picture where which you would compare. And now on top of that, he knew that she was in Lanka, but where was she in Lanka? He didn't know that. So he had to search. And he started looking at the palaces, and each of the palaces, okay, this is a big building, that is a big building, that is a bigger building. They are discreetly jumping from place to place, going near one window, going to the next window, peeping inside. Is there Sita over here? Is there Sita over there? So he was doing everything that he could. And when we build our intelligence, what that means is that we try, basically in many ways life is about trial and error. Even when we are serving the Lord, there, at that time, how exactly will our service work out? That's trial and error is there. When Prabhupada came to America, at that time he composed a song called Markine Bhagavad Dharma. And then he says, Ache kichu karya tabe ei anumane. You must have some purpose for me, O Lord. Otherwise, why would you bring me here? So, Prabhupada also writes in one of the letters that he wrote to Sumti Moraji, the person who had sponsored him. He says, we are experimenting with different ways to try to see how these Western people can be engaged in Krishna's service. So basically, build means that we improve our intelligence, we improve that particular skill, but it also means that we experiment. Like somebody wants to sing, somebody wants to write. So if you are going to write, then we try to learn some writing skills. Somebody may have a way with words, and that is good. But then everybody can improve. And then after improving also, then we experiment. Okay, he composes. Does this land? Does this have an impact? Does this make sense? So then we experiment. We have trial and error. So intelligence is okay. With this cause, is this effect coming or not? If this effect is not coming, we may need to change the cause. So improve means we improve the cause. The cause is basically our skill, our ability to use the skill. Use of skill we try to improve. And then experiment is that we, from the cause, which effect comes, we evaluate. And then accordingly, we change the cause and then check the effect. So, when we try to distribute books, say, if we are distributing books, we go out and speak certain things. If that doesn't impact people, then we learn. Okay, this is not working, so we try this out. In every area we do this. And it's not that bhakti is suddenly in a different area. We have to try it out, each one of us. So when we are studying scriptures, when we are hearing classes, we try, okay, which speakers they make sense. Sometimes we hear some classes, and after hearing the classes, before we came to the class, we had some questions. At the end of the class, we have even more questions. And more questions can be a sign of increased curiosity. Oh, the subject is so interesting, I want to learn more about it. But more questions can also be a sign of increased confusion. I don't understand. When I was studying engineering, I had one professor who was brilliant. He said, "Sir, I don't understand the subject." So many of us would say that. And he would say, "That is the success of my class." What do you mean? He said, "You should develop respect for the subject." That was actually a different way of saying you should develop respect for me. I am so clever, you can't understand what I'm saying. That is not a very attractive way of doing things. It is not a very helpful way of doing things. The point is that we change, okay, I try this out and see what result comes. I try that, see what result comes out. So in Bhakti also we need to do this. Prabhupada tried. Prabhupada came to first to Butler, Pennsylvania. Then he came to Philadelphia for some time. Then he came to New York first. Then later on he went to the Lower East Side in New York. And gradually he found some place where he had some results. So in Bhakti, we need to build our intelligence. So Hanuman was trying various things. And he searched at every palace he went. Peeked in here and peeked in there and peeked in there. And finally, oh, this looks the grandest palace. This must be Ravan's palace. And he saw Ravan around there. And then he saw at one point that there was in a bed and there's a extraordinarily beautiful woman lying over there. And she was sleeping. And Hanuman became delighted. Started jumping and up and down in joy. It's not making much noise, but it's jumping. You see, when after great effort we get some success, then there is a natural effervescence of emotion coming out. So what happened? He started celebrating. And then, at that time, as a celebration, the emotion started decreasing, then his judgment started coming up again. He said, his intelligence started coming up. He says, "No, this can't be Sita." The first thing that struck her was that she was extraordinarily beautiful. She was in the same palace where Ravan was. And I thought, this is Sita. But then I started thinking, it was dark, so he was not really able to see very clearly. There was some light in the house. He said, "See, this can't be Sita." The Sita that he had seen was utterly heartbroken at being separated from Ram. And he had himself seen how utterly agonized, how totally in the agony of separation Lord Ram was immersed, was lost. So Sita would also be in a similar situation. So if that is the case, then this cannot be Sita. So it's almost like what is success? We think it is success and then realize, hey, it's not success. It's not. So then he started thinking, what should I do? He started searching. And he just couldn't find Sita anywhere. And it was at this time that disappointment and dejection and depression started sneaking into him. He left the palace. He was just sitting on a tree. And as that darkness, the dark emotions started coming within him, there's dark emotion, the darkness of the atmosphere also started reflecting his heart. It was night, so it was dark, but at least there was moon and the stars by which he was able to see something. But then clouds started coming in the sky. And the clouds started covering everything, so it seemed extremely dark. And sometimes this happens to us, that when we are gloomy, when we feel gloomy, everything seems gloomy to us. Yes, right? We come to a place, the light is so low. We eat some food, this is so bland. We go out and we see, it's so dim, the sun is not there. So basically, we start feeling everything is gloomy. Now, of course, for Hanuman, it was not just feeling, it was very dark. And we can try to place ourselves in that situation. He's all alone, he's come on this huge mission. and he has done stupendous effort. And he's so close, he has come to the place where Sita is. And he's just not able to find her. He has searched every palace. And what is he to do at this time? It seems like all the doors are closed, there's nothing to do. And he starts thinking, if I can't find Sita, what face will I show to Ram? What will Ram think? He will become devastated, thinking that Sita is lost. He said, what has happened? Did Ravan devour Sita? Did he get angry and kill her? Did some other demon kill her? Or did she herself lose her life because of loss of hope? That Sita Ram was not going to come. It took too long for us to find. He had no idea what was happening. So he started thinking that if I go and tell Ram that this is what has happened, then Ram will not be able to live. He will die. If he dies, then Lakshman will die. If Ram and Lakshman die, then eventually all of Ayodhya is already devastated because Ram is gone away, and that he's never going to come back. They will all sink into an ocean of lamentation and they will die. Sugriv will feel utterly bereft. Because of him, just his elder brother was killed, and now the person to whom he had promised to do something, he was not able to do that. That person died. Sugriv will die. Without its two protectors, both its protectors gone, the entire Kishkinda will die. It will be devastated. People will just not be able to live. I think my failure to find Sita will be the cause of all this. No, I cannot let this happen. So, I will die searching for Sita over here, but I will not give up. I will not give up. So he had used his intelligence, and despite using his intelligence and his ability, he had come to a dead end. And logically, he said, just give up now. Nothing is going to work. We tried everything. What is the acronym we are discussing? So L. L is let go. Now let go of our plan. Not our purpose. There's a difference. Let go of our plan. Not our purpose. To put another way, hold. What is Hanuman's purpose? To find Sita. Ultimately, it was to serve Lord Ram. The particular service he had was to find Sita. And at one level, when we use logic, we use our intelligence. We need to make plans, and making plans is a sign that we are serious. We make plans about things that are important for us. So making plans in Bhakti is also important. But at the same time, it's also important to remember that our plans may not be the same as Krishna's plan. That's why you can say that hold our plans lightly. Hold our Lord tightly. Hold our plans lightly. Hold our Lord tightly. Our purpose is our Lord ultimately. Unfortunately, we do the opposite. We hold our plans tightly and the plans are not working. We say, Krishna, why are you not helping me? I'm doing so much. I'm doing all this for you. I'm good intention. Maybe you don't care only. Maybe this bhakti doesn't work at all. So we hold our Lord lightly, unfortunately. So the moment Hanuman decided, whatever happens, I would rather die over here, but I will not give up the finding of Sita, the search to find Sita. Same thing happened to Srila Prabhupada also. When he came to America, he came on a 2-month visa. And just before Prabhupada came in 1965, just 2 months actually before Prabhupada reached here, the America had a little bit liberalized its immigration laws. After 1921, between 1925 and 1965, the immigration laws were quite strict. And they had liberalized it, so Prabhupada could keep getting extension for each 2 months. But there was every time when he had to apply for the extension, he was thinking, should I stay on? Nothing seems to be happening over here. But Prabhupada said, let me keep trying a little bit more. Let me keep trying a little bit more. Right. But Prabhupada stayed on. So, at this point, Hanuman, when he was just waiting, so he decided that I am going to keep searching for Sita. When that determination rose within his heart, it's almost as if the universe, the atmosphere reciprocated. Whatever the nature, what is reciprocated. And suddenly the clouds parted. And when the clouds parted, the bright moon came out. And in that bright moon's light, he saw the entire landscape of Lanka. And then he saw over there that there was a park. And it's a large and beautiful park. Hey, maybe Sita is there. He started thinking that maybe because Lord Ram was in exile, Sita had refused to stay in any palace as long as the Lord was in the palace. And maybe when she was separated from him, she wanted to be in a place which would remind her of him. And they had been married for a relatively short while, and soon after that they had been exiled. So the memories that they had together were much more of being in the forest than in the palace. So maybe Sita had insisted that maybe I'll not enter into a palace. So immediately he, with renewed vigor, renewed energy, he jumped up and started bounding toward the palace. Away from the palace towards that park area. As he was going there, he started noticing suddenly some buzz of activity. He, from a distance, he saw that there was something in the distance. There were a number of demonesses standing around, and he couldn't see anyone there. He thought he saw someone over there. And suddenly he looked back, saw a bustle of activity. So the Ravan was there. By this time, Ravan had awakened. And as soon as he had woken up, his first thought had been Sita. So he had immediately got up. Every day he would try to either tempt her or threaten her, somehow try to get her will to weaken. And then Hanuman, he was still a very small form, and monkeys were not unusual in Lanka also. So the presence of a monkey did not raise much of a suspicion. So he just hid, and then he started following Ravan. And then he saw Ravan was talking with this woman, and this woman, she was shrinking away. Like when two people are talking, if one person is talking, one person is bending forward, the other person is also bending forward. And two people want to talk. Like one person is talking, and the other person is just shrinking away. Then basically, other person is, the body language says that the person doesn't want to be there. So he said, who is this? Normally, Ravan is the king, and the king is going out to meet someone. That person, the king doesn't go to meet someone. The king summons people to that place. The king is going to meet someone, and that person refuses to meet. Or that person shows as if I don't want to meet. This cannot be anybody from Lanka. This must be Sita. So it was then when we let go of our plan. His plan was search all the palaces, but that plan had failed. But now when we let go of our plan does not mean that we let go of our purpose. When Prabhupada went to America, His plan, he didn't even know that somebody called hippies existed over there. That Prabhupada's plan was to appeal to intelligent people, educated, intelligent people, just as the way his godbrothers had tried to do in London. And that didn't work. So, I said, when we let go of our plan, that doesn't mean we become passive. That means the last part. That's E in the, what is the acronym? Able. So, embrace whatever opportunity opens up. So this is where letting go and embracing the opportunity that comes up. This is the domain of magic. Why the domain of magic? Because we can't predict these things. When we make our plans, whenever we try to work, there are many things that we just can't predict. Now this is where in the Lanka, Hanuman's magic comes up. Hanuman had gone with a plan just to find Sita. Now he had succeeded. Now, it's a whole beautiful story which we won't go into all of it. But we'll just look at the magical element over here. The extraordinary element. Hanuman had not gone to Lanka with the plan of burning Lanka. His plan had been to find Sita. But when Sita, he had to earn her trust initially. He spoke about Ram's intimate pastimes with Sita, and that's how he earned her trust. And then after that, she said, please tell Ram to hurry. Ravan has given me an ultimatum of 1 year. If I don't submit to him, he said he's going to have me. If he doesn't have me through his carnal desires, then he will have me through his carnivorous desires. So so when Hanuman heard this, he became alarmed. And he said that you come with me right away. But Sita said, no, I cannot come. And there's a whole incident. But then Hanuman decided that now that I have come here, he wanted to do something that would send a message to Ravan. So now sometimes when some strategies are made, they are made in the moment. And Hanuman decided that he would create a disruption by which that would send a message. So he started destroying that garden. Sita had told him this is Ravan's favorite garden. So he decided, let me do some damage over here. So it is called Ashokvatika. For Ravan it became Shokvatika. So he sent, when he heard this monkey is disrupting, he sent warrior after warrior. And he sent his Kinkiras, he came Jambumali, he even sent his son Aksha, and all of them Hanuman killed. Now, normally we see Hanuman with a mace, isn't it? Now when Hanuman went across Lanka, he went with neither check-in baggage nor carry-on baggage. He went without anything. So actually the garden had a gate. He just broke that gate and he took out one of the iron rods. And that's what he used for fighting over there. But then Indrajit, he came. And Indrajit used the Brahmastra finally after a big fight. Now, when Indrajit came forward, see, as Hanuman was fighting, Hanuman's plan was that he will do some damage, and if too many forces come up, then he will flee from there. He had already leapt across Lanka and he could anytime leave. But then, what all powers did he have? He had a long ago memory. Just before this journey, Jambavan had reminded him. But what are the extent of his powers? He's also experimenting with that, exploring that. So when Indrajit came and used the Brahmastra, Hanuman was bound. But Hanuman did not get discouraged. He took that as an opportunity. And when Indrajit decided that we will show the entire kingdom what happens to anyone who dares to challenge Ravan's authority, who tries to harm whatever is dear to Ravan. That's why they didn't take him straight to the court. They had him bound and they had him dragged through the streets. And while he was being dragged, the demons were taunting him, they were slapping him, they were kicking him, some of them even spitting on him. Now Hanuman, he was focused. What was his focus? While all this was happening to him, he was focused on Lord Ram. Kapivara santata samsmrita Rama tadgati vigna dvamsaka Rama. So he was remembering Lord Ram. And he was thinking of Lord Ram's purpose. So what he was doing was, he was doing reconnaissance. Okay, how are the streets over here? Where are the military encampments? Which are the ways, if we enter into the city, which are the areas from which we attack? Which are the areas from which we can escape? So what are the vulnerable points? So he was observing and learning. Even when he came into Ravan's court, now the opportunity that he got was for reconnaissance. Reconnaissance means basically we evaluate. Like before you attack, you evaluate what is the strength and weakness of this. Then when he came to Lanka, when he came to Lanka's court, at that time his purpose was primarily to give a warning to Ravan. Because at this point it did seem as if war was inevitable. But to what extent would a warning suffice? So he wanted to warn Ravan that if he did not return Sita, he would be destroyed. Now he did that warning. But what happens is, for some people, warning, it activates their intelligence. For others, warning activates their ego. Who do you think you are to warn me? Isn't it? So, warning can activate intelligence. Now with Ravan, what happened? Ego. So, ego got activated. Who is the upstart monkey? And he decided that kill him. And Vibhishan intervened. And then he said, okay, let's burn his tree. So he said, his point was that he wanted to humiliate him, disfigure him. And he said, Ravan had disfigured his sister's nose by cutting her nose. I will burn Ram's servant's tail. And monkeys are very proud of their tail, so I'll burn it. And then that will be a reminder for him forever and for everyone. What happens? He will live, but he will live and suffer. He had also sized up Hanuman by this time. Hanuman, he saw that this is not an ordinary person. He's also a warrior. And warriors have their pride. Sambhavita chakirtir maranaditirichute. For one who has been honored, dishonor is worse than death. That is his plan. Now Hanuman had many powers. But one of the things is that in our scriptures, except for God, no one is omnipotent. And even God does not always act as if he is omnipotent. If God always acted as if he is omnipotent, then there will be no Leela at all. Because he can just be omnipotent. Isn't it? So the Leela means God, although he is all powerful, he acts as if he is a finite human being who sometimes exhibits extraordinary powers. So, when the tail was to be burnt, then at that time they arranged to get cloth which would be inflammable. They got some fuel, ghee and other things, and they put it on the cloth and they tied around. Hanuman had already elongated his tail to make a seat for himself. So they took some time to cover that whole tail with cloth, the demons, and then they set fire. Now Hanuman's plan at this time was to tolerate it. See, among all forms of punishment that were given, burning is probably the worst part of punishment, worst kind of punishment. That's why even in traditional times, in the past, when, not I'm talking about Satyuga, but in the past, when people would kill someone, it's a criminal, the worst kind of killing is killing by burning. Because when somebody is shot, the arrow or the head, they are beheaded or whatever it is, it's painful, but it's for one moment. But burning means the entire body is facing the pain. So his plan was to set Hanuman's tail. You had got such a long tail, then you will have to suffer that much longer with the burning of the tail. Hanuman was ready to tolerate it. But then he was waiting. Why are they not setting it on fire? Why are they not setting it on fire? And then he looked back and he saw there was a fire. His tail was on fire and he was feeling no pain at all. Oh, he said, this must be the mercy of. It could be Ram, but he said, but Ram didn't know. Sita must be praying. So Sita has a special relationship with fire. So he said that she must be praying. So what happened was, all that was happening in the court, this had become a public event, in the sense that it had been public news. So there was no live telecast going on, but there was live news being sent. What is happening in the court? Who spoke what? Who spoke what? So the messages were going to Sita also. And therefore, what happened was that Sita also knew. When Sita heard that Hanuman has been burnt, so at that time, she said that oh Lord, oh Lakshmi Devi, please let him not feel any pain. It's interesting, Sita could have prayed that maybe Agnidev should not come only over there, isn't it? And now that fire might not be lit only. But the idea was, Sita also didn't want to raise suspicions too much. The fire was lit, but it was not hurting him. And then Hanuman was pleasantly surprised. And then it struck him. This. This burning but not hurting tail. That the tail was burning but not hurting. This was basically like a weapon which Ravan had unwittingly given his hands. It's like a gun with inexhaustible bullets. Isn't it? That it's not going to hurt him, but he can keep burning. So then he grabbed this opportunity. And he says, for some people, warnings are not enough. See, warnings are more in words. But sometimes action has to be done. That is deterrence. Deterrence means that sometimes a person, then two people are about to fight. Then one person has to show the other person the magnitude of their power. And then the other person realizes, okay, it's not going to be so easy to win over here. So maybe I should not mess with this person. Maybe I should not fight. So Hanuman decided to use deterrence. And thus he just, Jai Shri Ram, he said, and just leapt up. And all the demons who were trying to stand, they just fell back. Now for Ravan said, catch him. For Ravan, there could be nothing more humiliating than having a prisoner escape from within his court itself. You know, there is jailbreak. Often, what happens is prisoners in the jail, they dig some underground tunnel and go away. But there are very few times when there is a code break. Like in the court, you have security. There somebody comes and takes away. That's disastrous. They'll catch him. So Ravan's purpose first was to catch. But then, from catching, suddenly he realized that what Hanuman was doing, he was not trying to run away. It's one thing, a prisoner escapes and tries to run away. But he was not running away, he was running into Lanka. And he was setting Lanka on fire. And this was outrageous. He said, stop him, catch him. As one house, another house started catching fire. And then Ravan became enraged and he became conflicted. What should he do? Try to stop the fire or try to catch the monkey? And what was happening was, he wanted to do both and neither was working. They were not able to catch the monkey also, they were not able to stop him also. Stop the fire also. Just right in front of his eyes. So that very tail which he had lit on fire was now letting his whole city on fire. It's like you give your enemy a weapon and then they destroy you with that very weapon. So finally, when Hanuman burned enough of Lanka, he decided that now he had assumed, as he was leaping across, he had again assumed a giant form. The giant form was leaping from here to there. So he leapt onto the border wall of Lanka. And he stood in a towering form over there. And then his tail was raised above. It formed like the burning tail formed like the sun, a halo around his back, around his whole body. And he seemed to be like a fearsome, awesome figure. And there Hanuman spoke in a thunderous voice, "O Ravan, I am just the least among the servants of Ram. If you do not return Sita, then hundreds and thousands of Vanaras stronger than me will come and destroy your entire city. Return Sita." Hanuman had earlier given a warning in the court, that is privately, with Hanuman and his generals. But now this was public. Everybody could see. And then, again he roared, "Jai Shri Ram!" And he pressed down on the wall so that he would have the momentum to leap up. And as he leapt up, that wall of Lanka, which had been considered to be impenetrable, that wall just crumbled under him. And Hanuman leapt high into the sky. As he leapt high into the sky, he rolled backwards. And instead of going upward, he went downwards. And he let his tail dip into the ocean. And the tail got extinguished by the water of the ocean. And then, the same momentum, he turned, flipped around and leapt into the sky. And he was on his way back. Everybody in Lanka was watching. And they were just left powerless. So Hanuman embraced whatever opportunity he got. And that's how he is Buddhimatam Varishtam. So Shri Hanuman Ji ki Jai. So for all of us in our service also, we make our plans, but we let go of our plans. We let go of our plans does not mean that we let go of our service. We embrace whatever opportunity comes. And sometimes it may be a small opportunity, sometimes it might be a big opportunity. So if we keep embracing, Krishna will open doors for us. Sometimes a door closes, a window opens. Sometimes the doors and windows close, a trap door opens from below. Something will open. What is important is that we never lose hope. That Krishna never abandons us. And when we have this willingness to embrace whatever opportunity comes, that is where the magic of Bhakti is experienced. And that is where we can experience God acting in our lives. So God is not just a reality up there that we believe in. God becomes a reality in here that we live with. So Bhakti, God is not just about believing in God. We want to be living in God. Living in God means we want to live in God's presence. Believing in means that God is some distant presence. I believe He exists. But God is a dynamic power. He's a dynamic person, in fact, not just a power. And he acts in our lives. It is when we embrace what opportunity opens, then we start seeing God's plan acting in our life. That was Srila Prabhupada's life. Prabhupada had said that I see temples, they're far, only time is separating us from them. But toward the end of his life, Prabhupada said that the success that I achieved exceeded even my own expectations. So that is the magic of Krishna. Within 10 years, such spectacular success Prabhupada achieved. After 40 years, almost 1922 to 1966, Prabhupada was trying. 44 years, nothing was coming. The last 10, 11 years was unparalleled success. So the magic of Bhakti is that Krishna can act in ways that we can't foresee. But Krishna will act, and we need to stay on, holding on till the time Krishna acts in our lives. So I'll summarize what we discussed today. The theme we discussed today is about Bhakti and intelligence. The role of intelligence in Bhakti. Started by discussing about how Bhakti itself, Bhakti involves Shraddha, faith. But Bhakti also is called as Buddhi. So it is both ways. The Buddhi to do yoga, the yoga that gives Buddhi. And then we discussed an acronym. What is the acronym? So we discussed Bhakti has logic and magic. So what are the logic aspect? A is what? Yeah, God has not given us gifts so that we can abandon them, but that we value them and use them. B was? That is the starting point, the gifts that we have. We need to develop them. It's our talents. It's like I give the example of a car, you can just drive it, but we have to learn how to drive it. Like somebody gives us a land, we have to cultivate the land. So we need to build our ability. So appreciate the talents that we have. We build the commitment that we develop. So we discuss Hanuman's story, how this is basically about making our plans. This is where we are using our intelligence. And then the domain of magic is what? L is let go. We let go of what? Our plan. But what do we not let go of? Our purpose. That our purpose is to serve the Lord, but that we hold on to. Just my plan is not working does not mean that nothing is going to work. So we discuss how Hanuman, he searched through palaces, he didn't find Sita. I'll die trying to find Sita. And the last was embrace. Embrace whatever door Krishna opens, whatever opportunity Krishna sends. So when we are open, we will see that Krishna will send opportunities that we couldn't even have thought about. And that's how, by embracing those opportunities, we can experience the magic of Bhakti. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, as you heard the beautiful lessons from Ramayana, so Chaitanya Charan Prabhu has a book based on the teachings of Ramayana, and he also has a calendar like Gita quotes, which is based on the quotes from Gita, which he has written. Last year he had published one, and this year is a new version of that. So if anyone is interested, we have the books, and you can contact me for that. Right.
श्री रामचंद्र भगवान की जय, श्री हनुमान जी की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, गौर भक्त वृंद की जय, गौर प्रेमानंदे।
Haribol.